Tucked away within the grounds of the U.S. Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C., One Observatory Circle is an extraordinary residence, serving as the official home of the Vice President of the United States. Unlike any other home in the country, this distinguished house blends historical charm with the responsibilities of modern governance. With its elegant Queen Anne-style architecture, featuring a grand wraparound porch and unique turreted rooms, the house is a symbol of both tradition and change. Although it is far less famous than the White House, this dignified home has silently witnessed decades of political and personal milestones. Over the years, it has evolved from its original purpose into the cherished home it is today. Origins and early history. The story of One Observatory Circle dates back to 1893, when it was originally constructed to serve as a home for the superintendent of the Naval Observatory. The observatory itself, which had previously been located in Foggy Bottom, had moved to this location in 1880 as part of a larger estate known as Northview. The house was designed by the architect Leon E. Dezes, who embraced the Queen Anne architectural style that was popular at the time. The house featured an asymmetrical layout, turreted rooms, and spacious verandas, making it both functional and aesthetically appealing. Built with red brick and surrounded by lush greenery, the home provided a peaceful retreat just beyond the hustle and bustle of downtown Washington, D.C. At the time, the construction cost $20,000, which would be equivalent to nearly $700,000 today. This investment reflected the Navy's commitment to establishing a strong presence in the area. By the early 1920s, the house found itself serving a new purpose. The Chief of Naval Operations, one of the highest-ranking officers in the U.S. Navy, claimed the house as his official residence. From that point on, it became known as the Admiral's House and housed some of the most influential leaders in naval history. Over the next 5 decades, prominent figures such as Admiral Chester Nimitz and Admiral Elmo Zumwalt lived in the home, transforming it into a significant symbol of naval leadership and tradition. The residence was not just a private home, but also a place where official gatherings and important meetings took place. The need for an official vice presidential residence. For most of American history, vice presidents did not have an official residence. Instead, they lived in temporary accommodations, which could include hotels, apartments, or their private homes. However, this arrangement created major security and logistical challenges. Each time a new vice president took office, their living quarters had to be modified and secured at great expense. President Calvin Coolidge once stated that the vice president's office needed a settled and permanent habitation to reflect its growing importance. However, no real action was taken until the 1970s. As the cost of securing private residences continued to rise, Congress designated the Admiral's House as the official vice presidential residence in 1974. Not everyone agreed with the decision. Admiral Elmo Zumwalt strongly opposed the move. He was so against it that he ran for a Senate seat in Virginia in 1976 as a form of protest, though he was not successful. Despite some resistance, the transition went forward, and the house underwent significant renovations to prepare for its new role. Security was upgraded, and various modifications were made, but the house's official designation remained temporary in government documents, a status that still technically exists today. First vice presidential residence. Ironically, Vice President Gerald Ford, who was supposed to be the first resident, never got the chance to move in. Instead, after President Richard Nixon resigned in 1974, Ford became President of the United States, and his Vice President, Nelson Rockefeller, decided to remain in his own private residence instead of relocating to One Observatory Circle. Instead, Rockefeller used the house primarily for official events and entertaining guests. It wasn't until 1977 that the house gained its first full-time residence, Vice President Walter Mondale and his family. The Mondales made the house feel more like a home by decorating it with modern furniture, rich colors, and Asian antiques. Over the years, every vice president and their family brought their own personal touch to the residence, changes and renovations over the years. Each vice president's family has left their mark on One Observatory Circle, adding personal touches and making improvements to suit their lifestyles. Here are some notable changes made by different vice presidents. George H.W. Bush, 1981 to 1989. The Bush family preferred a classic aesthetic, opting for light color palettes and soft tones. They also added a jogging track and a horseshoe pit to the property, reflecting their love for outdoor activities. Dan Quayle, 1989 to 1993. The Quayles made the house more family-friendly by installing a putting green and creating extra bedroom spaces on the third floor. Al Gore, 1993 to 2001. The Gores undertook one of the most significant renovations in the house's history. They delayed their move so that the house could undergo asbestos removal, plumbing and electrical updates, and modernized heating and ventilation systems. Tipper Gore also created a household catalog to track furniture, artwork, and historical artifacts for future residents. Dick Cheney, 2001 to 2009. The Cheney family updated the interiors with neutral tones and subtle modern touches. Joe Biden, 2009 to 2017. Biden celebrated family traditions by adding a tree swing to the yard and creating the Family Heritage Garden, which honored former residents of the home. Mike Pence, 2017 to 2021. Pence's additions included a beehive and a basketball court. Kamala Harris, 2021 to present. Harris and her husband Doug Emhoff have continued the tradition of personalizing the space, though details of their modifications remain largely private. A home of national importance. Despite its grandeur and importance, One Observatory Circle remains a private residence. Unlike the White House, it is not open to public tours, and security measures ensure that it remains a secure and peaceful retreat for the Vice President and their family. The house plays a dual role. It is both a symbol of national leadership and a comfortable family home. Throughout its history, the residence has hosted dignitaries, holiday celebrations, and official gatherings, making it an integral part of American political life. Yet, at its core, it remains a place where families grow, memories are made, and history continues to unfold. So, what do you think about One Observatory Circle? Let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.